Have you ever been listening to one of your favorite songs and thought to yourself, man, I love this song, I just wish it was sung by kids? Unless you were a large, money-driven corporation, that thought has likely never crossed your mind. As of September 10th, 2001, Razor and Tie co-founders Cliff Chenfeld and Craig Balsam have been selflessly blessing us with their project called Kidz Bop. All of your favorite songs sung by random kids that no one has ever heard of. If you grew up in the 2000s like I did, you know Kidz Bop was inescapable. I feel like every other commercial I saw was for Kidz Bop.
Hey, all your favorite hit songs in one place.
I still have nightmares about it to this day. As a kid, I naively thought that Kidz Bop was just this inherent thing that existed in and was part of this world. In the same way that the sun, the moon, and the trees exist, they're just there and that's it. As I've gotten older and realized that isn't the case, I'm left wondering how all this came to be. How did Kidz Bop become a thing, and what does the future of Kidz Bop as a brand and company look like in a constantly changing digital landscape? Most people don't know this, but Kidz Bop began as an oldies compilation company. Oldies as in music from the 70s. This venture began in 1990 inside Cliff Chenfeld's apartment, where he and his partner Craig Balsam would create their first music company. They didn't have a ton of ideas, so they just went with the first thing that sounded good to them, and thus, the 70s Preservation Society was born. The first release under the 70s Preservation Society umbrella was a compilation of tracks called Those Fabulous 70s, featuring hit songs from groups like the Partridge Family, the Bay City Rollers, and Starlight Vocal Band. If you want to secure yourself a copy, just go ahead and dial 1-800-395-1976.
You can enjoy 23 of the decade's greatest hits by the original superstars. Who can forget the beloved Partridge Family?
Apparently, they ran this pretty kitschy commercial on Nick at Night during the course of the 1990s. It's the type of commercial that you see and wonder, is anyone actually going to buy this? But apparently it did pretty well since they made way more than one. In addition to the 70s Preservation Society, Chenfeld and Balsam also released a compilation titled Monster Ballads, which was another hit for the boys, selling over 3 million copies. So even before Kidz Bop was a thing, these guys were seemingly doing pretty well for themselves. Fast forward approximately 10 years, Craig and Cliff now have families, which means they now have children. Therefore, their kids would begin consuming children's entertainment such as Barney, Sesame Street, and programs of that nature. But as their kids grew up more and more with each passing day, Chenfeld and Balsam noticed a void that they felt really needed to be filled, and they filled that void with Kidz Bop. The whole concept was birthed because they felt that the music selections on productions like Barney or the Wiggles were too juvenile for many kids, but at the same time, it's not like you could just hand a 9-year-old a Britney Spears CD and feel okay about that either. There was just no in between. They really took notice of this gap upon taking their elementary school age kids to birthday parties. The songs were either the jingly type that were so annoying that it made you want to leave this earth, or tracks by artists like Eminem that obviously are not appropriate for 8-year-olds to listen to. So the boys got to work and hit the ground running. They put together a compilation of exactly 30 songs, 18 if you listen to the album on Spotify, and contracted a group of kids to sing those songs. But I'm not really sure if I buy that these songs are sung by kids, because All the Small Things literally sounds like it was performed by an 84-year-old man from the deep south that just woke up. It's literally a crime against humanity. Despite this, Kidz Bop 1 was a major success, and most of the sales, if not all of the sales, came from their aggressive television marketing that we all know and love. 800,000 units were sold without the album even being available in stores. Did you know that the Kidz Bop kids are more successful than Madonna and Bob Dylan? It reads like a joke, but it's not. This list from Billboard showcases the most Billboard Top 10 albums by artist, and wow, not only did they beat out Madonna and Bob Dylan, they also beat out artists like Elton John and Bruce Springsteen. And they're at number 4 on this list overall, which is nothing to shake a stick at. In an age where platforms like Spotify and Apple Music dominate the music industry in terms of how people listen to music, the Kidz Bop franchise still dominates with their CD sales. In fact, they are the best-selling children's CD series, period. No one is even close to taking that title away from them. A significant number of their sales actually come from people buying CDs. Kidz Bop 24 was released July of 2013 and did 306,000 units in its first 7 months, and CD sales accounted for 78% of that. That is nearly 240,000 compact discs. There is an explanation for this though. Brand president Vic Zaraya explains that the physical releases are often packaged with incentives such as magnets and stickers, which is one of the reasons why the sales are still high. He also notes the tangibility factor, meaning parents want to be able to put put something in their kids' hands. A very little known fact is that in the year of 2006, the two co-owners actually sold a 50% stake in the company to a business called Abry Partners, which is a private equity firm based in Boston, Massachusetts. The deal lasted until the latter part of 2014 when Abry decided to sell its share, which they attempted to sell to Disney and companies of that caliber, but when that didn't work out, it was promptly snapped up by its former owners. While Razor and Tie co-owners Cliff and Craig declined to give public information regarding the deal, they did issue a statement so we weren't completely left in the dark. We are very excited to regain complete ownership of Kidz Bop. Razor and Tie and Kidz Bop are energized and ready to move forward by doing what we have always done: diversify and grow. But what does that look like in 2019 and beyond, with the rise of streaming platforms and technology continuously remaking the industry? Can Kidz Bop continue to adapt, evolve, and flourish in this new unpredictable environment? First and foremost, it's important to note that Razor and Tie, the label of Kidz Bop, is no longer. It didn't go away per se, it was just absorbed by Concord Music at the start of 2018. And without context, it's hard to determine whether or not that's a positive or negative thing for the company going forward. According to label president Zariah, the next 10 years or so are going to be a very turbulent time for Kidz Bop. There are lots of things to consider moving forward, the biggest of course being technology, and the fact that a lot of kids are now using technology at a much younger age, and are able to discover music that appeals to them at a much younger age. And being able to determine how they can use this to their advantage will be absolutely critical. But to put into context how things are going at this point in time, here are a few figures to go off of. None of their last 7 albums have reached the top 10, and 3 of the last 4 haven't even cracked the top 40. Vicky Nauman, founder of Cross Border Works, a music industry consulting group, says that one of the problems is the idea of compilations is somewhat obsolete. Compilations filled a need because they were portable, curated, and a way to sample artists without buying 10 albums. But playlists are the new compilations. On top of compilations no longer being relevant, the company faces another large problem. Many of their sales come from physical CDs being purchased and of course played. While CD players have been long gone for years now, you could still play them in your vehicle, but now CD players are disappearing from cars. In an attempt to combat this growing issue, they dropped their very own Sirius XM station in early 2014, and it's still going strong today. Despite the dip in chart performance, brand president Zariah asserts that doesn't denote a drop in popularity. The charts don't reflect overall consumption for our brand properly. When we release Kidz Bop 39, people go to Spotify and don't necessarily listen to Kidz Bop 39, they listen to the Kidz Bop catalog, which is a pretty easy statement to get behind considering that between 2015 and 2018, streaming grew from 35% to 75% of the music market in the United States. However, in 2020, for the first time since 2002, the company may only release 1 album instead of the usual 2 or more. At face value, this sounds like impending doom, but upon closer look, it seems like it's actually a step in the right direction and shows that Kidz Bop is making an honest effort to adapt to the current climate. The idea for releasing only 1 album next year was put on the table so they would have more time to focus on a constant stream of singles and music videos to accompany those singles. Because not only is it predicted that 80% of the world's internet traffic will come from videos, but we also have a significantly shorter attention span thanks to our smartphones. The steady flow of singles will keep their name popping up on kids' phones or their parents' phones. While their album sales have continued a downward trend this year, their streaming numbers beg to differ. They crossed the 1 billion mark in total streams, and their YouTube channel that they created in 2014 is following suit. As of Monday, August 26th, their channel passed over 1 billion video views, and in the last month has done over 37 million views and earned a whopping 62,000 subscribers. They'll be focusing a lot of energy on touring in the next few years as the Kidz Bop Tour has become its own beast over the years, and in conjunction with an emphasis on touring, an attempt to brand the kids will be made. No longer will they be random kids singing hit songs, they'll be the Kidz Bop kids singing your favorite songs. Since 2015, there have been a slew of Kidz Bop Kids original songs such as We Run the Show, Make Some Noise, and Life of the Party. The original tracks really aren't better or worse than the covers, they just sound like the product of a corporate think tank tasked with creating hit songs for kids that were going to be sung by kids. They aren't great, but to be frank, they could be much worse. And as long as kids love it, that's what matters, because at the end of the day, it's children's entertainment. While Kidz Bop may have a laundry list of things you could criticize it for, such as the abysmal lyric changes and questionable song choices, the company does have some redeeming qualities, and it would be disingenuous to not acknowledge them. Kidz Bop is a safe haven for kids that want to enjoy music. Parents Parents can be completely at ease when their child is listening to a Kidz Bop CD or the Kidz Bop radio station. They don't have to fear random swears popping up and taking away their young one's innocence. And it's much healthier for children to look up to the Kidz Bop kids rather than a figure of the likes of Lil Pump. It also inspires the youth to get into music at an early age. Maybe through listening to Kidz Bop and being immersed in music at such an early age, a future star could be born. The positives really do seem to outweigh the negatives when it's stripped down to its most basic functions, serving an underserved market of elementary schoolers. Will Kidz Bop survive the digital age and grow into an empire of sorts? Maybe. Who knows? Only time will tell, but I'll be keeping an eye out. Thank you for watching.